Testing, testing. Yeah. I can use. Can start already. Yep, so good evening everyone. So once again, thanks you guys for attending today's meetup. First of all, I think there's no Taylor students here, but not to forget, I think let's give a round of applause for Taylor for sponsoring this event first. And yeah, let's get into this meetup. Okay, so this meetup, I think we already had a buka our puasa just now, and right now it's going to be announcements and also money roundup. And next we're going to have Sam sharing his experience about ETH-iopia as well. It's in Africa. I think he's just ended, I think late February. I think, yeah. And Sam is going to share with us. And next up is Harif. Is going to share with us like the recent the Pectra Ethereum upgrade as well. Then after that, we're going to have the Q&A is going to split between these two sessions. And after that, we're going to continue. I think there's still some leftover pizza with that. Yep, that's all for the agenda. So yeah, so I think this one is more like an update to all. Just FYI, I think ETH-KL has been receiving grants from the Ecosystem Support Program for 2 years. This is the 3rd year right now. And same thing as last 2 years. This is currently in progress. It's like they're going to apply the grant for the hacker house, as well the stipend and the meetup costs, for example, the pizzas and everything. And there are 2 new things that we're going to add. One is we're trying to see if we can have contributors stipend as well for those who want to contribute to ETH-KL specific things, like for example setting up the AV person in charge of hosting this event, finding events, or live streams, handling social media, etc. So this is still within the plannings. And the next one is about the workshop grants. So we're going to experiment this as well. It's like we're going to have people host workshops and apply for grants, for example, to as a token of appreciation, or like you can apply it for food or venue costs, etc. So yeah, this is currently in progress. Once it's updated, I'll let you guys know. Yep, and the next part, I think this is something that we are currently in discussions with Scroll as well. So like, according to discussions, I think Scroll is interested to contribute and to help out this ETH-KL meetup. So it could be a form like a collaborations of meetups and also like workshops, etc. So yeah, and any one of you who are interested in like wanting to be a part of this notion, you can let me know, or you can reach out to RH over there, who is also working from school as well. Yep, I think that's all I have today. So next, I'm going to pass it to Elsie to talk about the monthly roundup for this month. Yeah.
Oh, together. Oh, okay. Oh, my bad. It's this wise. All right. So hi everyone. Again, monthly roundups gonna be me, and I think from the next month onwards, probably Taylor. Oh, my bad. Egway is gonna take over. So yeah. Well, let's start. Well, I think this is one of the most awaited news for a lot of communities. So Monad testnet went live on 19th February, and again, those Monad community has been quite happy from that, I guess. And quick info about Monad. What is Monad? It's L1 EVM, and they are using POS for the consensus mechanism. And one of the main things I think they're advertising is they have very low hardware requirements for nodes and 10,000 TPS. Plus, one of their big words is like, do not fear of trilemma, like blockchain trilemma. So security, speed, and privacy is still there. That's what they're promoting, but we will see how it's going to turn out to be once they launch their mainnet. We're going to see. Okay, next biggest thing. Okay, let's go for the security side. I think that was one of the highlights of the months that everyone's been talking about. So Bybit got hacked for almost 1.5 billion and reaching the tops in the rect leaderboard. So probably people got affected with some withdrawal times if you've been using Bybit for a while. But they managed to cover up from their own assets, personal probably funds and all. And from the latest news, I heard like probably almost like 90% or 100% of the hacked money is laundered already. Yeah. So yeah, and the main target is being famous Lazarus Group. And the hack has been quite interesting. So they managed to manipulate those multi-sig accounts with the front-end spoofing, if I remember correctly. So all the multi-sig holders, well, I think they did really sophisticated social engineering to operate this, but anyways, they achieved that. Good hackers, but in a wrong way. Yeah, I mean, they managed to hack it, anyways. So we'll continue with the security news. Infini got hacked for almost 50 million right after Bybit's hack announced. So it's quite interesting. ROG dev, their dev held access to the vault systems. And so after almost like 3 months, he waited and he executed his hack. So it's quite interesting. You can check it out on Rect News. Next one is CryptoGate Libra. I think that was quite famous in Latin America and in US related stuff. So Argentina's president advertised and like showed up like, hey, this Libra is going to be very useful for the country and all. Probably he also got scammed. This tweet was deleted, by the way. So, but then it turned out to be it was a scam, and almost 250 million got. How do I say this? Investors lost probably more than that amount as well. Okay, EF announced new leadership recently. That was one of the big news. Yeah, we can clap for that. So we have new 2 co-executive directors. It's very hard for me to read the names, so yeah, these people. Oh yeah, and one thing, there was a new, I think, director for Etherealize. Danny Ryan became a new director for Etherealize as well. So Etherealize is a marketing arm for EF, Ethereum Foundation. Well, let's start from the policies. Talks from the White House. Well, if everyone has been watching the news, especially in the evening, the market started suddenly pumping up. So, yeah, it also matched the timing that the Trump tweeted about their crypto reserves, and yeah. And another interesting thing is this in 7th, was it 7th March, if I remember? Yeah, on 7th March, yep. 7th March on Friday in the White House, they are having a first ever crypto summit of their own. So we'll see how it's going to affect to the whole market, whole industry. But White House is coming along with the blockchain and crypto initiatives and all. And I think in this background, in the policies as well, SEC dropped a lot of lawsuits. Has been happening for quite a while for the Coinbase, Kraken, Consensus, Uniswap, OpenSea, Gemini, and Robinhood. So, yeah, I think they are quite happy about that. Oh, oops, my bad. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Asipek. So right now we're going to invite Sam to give a sharing on Ethiopia. Yeah, Sam, over to you.
The pages there, you can open.
One second.
Tabs.
It's a bit far.
Bit far. Okay, and then you have the X, right? Okay. So will you let?
I think we should just go one back.
Hmm?
Like one
Go back. Okay.
What do you mean?
Cool. All right. Hi everyone. Good evening. Everyone's not hungry, right? Makan di pizza, whatever. Okay. I guess while they're doing this, I'll tell a short story about like my experience with pop-up villages. We just heard news about like Thomas Anzak as one of the new co-directors of EF. I didn't know who he was. I heard of Nethermind. Sorry? Yeah, so I know of Nethermind and stuff like that. So, but I was at the pop-up village in Chiang Mai last year. I think it was at one of the events at like the HC that was public. I just was there and like I was chatting. There was some sort of Suzadu pop-up village in that evening, right? And I was talking to Thomas and just like met hi whatever, and then we ended up giving a ride in the car to this place. And then he was like, oh, I find this though like he didn't tell me he was at the right. He was describing the company in other ways and stuff like that. So I'm not saying that to sound like I'm important, but I'm going to share something about my journey to Ethiopia. But I think where I'm coming from is that the magic, I think, of this current age in both the Ethereum space as well as the age of pop-up cities, pop-up cities, pop-up villages, is that in not many fields is it so easy to meet the top people, right? Like if you're a pop-up city like HT like last year and all that, right? Like Vitalik would just walk by, like often he would chat with you and stuff like that. So many experiences where that kind of thing happened, and so I think it's quite special. Like within like Web3 and stuff, that it's so easy to like just meet, and because people are there not to be VIPs, but often to just they're geeking out about the stuff, right? So like so fun stories. And what I'm going to share is about Ethiopia is I was not there as an organizer. I was just there as a visitor, but I did meet some of the initial organizers at in Chiang Mai last year, because last year was very special in the pop-up city era, right? Like I think in Chiang Mai we had probably like 12 to 13 different pop-up cities of different scales, right? And many people were inspired by that. And I think out of that, like so many people wanted to organize something. Ethiopia is one of them. So I met some of them then. I didn't know I would go. I definitely couldn't spend 1 month in Africa. But early this year, I had to be in India for some work already. And I realized India was actually more than halfway to there, and it was just 1 week before. So I thought, when else will I get the chance to go to Ethiopia and have people? So I'm going to share, not as an expert or as an organizer, I'm just going to share, like, I went there kind of like, as a tourist, right? Just went there, see some stuff, learn some things. But I'll share some stuff and then maybe some reflections on, maybe we're here in KL, like what are some things we can think about or learn from that experience. Okay, so I guess maybe we can start by just, there are some videos and stuff. I'll just play a short 30-second one so you get a flavor of what they have. Where's the videos? Oh, is this? Okay, anyway. Alright, okay, so we're just not looking, never mind. We should try the photos. Technical, okay. Let's see. So give you a sense of the vibe, the people, like they're not in trees, right? Like modern infrastructure, like could be anywhere. So we had about I think about 40 builders over that period, and so you get a sense of the kind of like what the feel of the place was like. And where is the web page? Okay, so this is their web page, right? So of all the countries in the world, Ethiopia probably has the best name for an ETH event, right? You don't have to change the spelling. So whoever named it, good, congratulations. So they didn't have to change the name, right? Just capitalize 3 letters, settle. So naming was super easy for them. They announced it, I think, at Chiang Mai last year, and then I think January this year they opened applications. They got close to 300 applications, right? And what it is a combination of a few things. The whole thing ran over almost 1 month, from about mid-Jan to mid-February. And then over that 1 month, the main thing was a builder's residency. So they had about 40 different builders from not all over Africa, but quite good range of Africa. Right? I'll talk about some of the countries that they came from later. And then residency for maybe a few weeks. And then towards the end, they had a bit of a hackathon week where they started to now we've learned all these things, we start doing some projects. Most of the projects were things that people had thought up only during the thing itself. So they didn't come in, I have my project already, I'm going to build it here. A lot of them came up with ideas as part of that. And then there was a hackathon, and then the part where I came from, I only went for about 2 days out of the whole agenda, was what they called the conference. So the conference was like 2 days. One of the days was a lot of talks, so more familiar conference stuff, like a few different talks and all that, some panels. And then the second day of that conference was the demo day, where all the different projects, I think there were about 30 projects, they all did their various pitches. So I got a chance to get a glimpse of the kinds of projects they were talking about then. The exact dates for where I was there was like around like the February 14th to 17th in Addis, and February 15th, 16th, Saturday, Sunday was the 2 days of events I was with them, right? This was quite interesting timing because it was also the same timing as the Africa Union Summit. Africa Union, like so, Europe is the EU, right? Like Southeast Asia, ASEAN. So like, African Union is basically all the heads of state were in Addis at the same time. And we're in Malaysia, you can predict what will happen, right? Every few minutes, security on the road, police car, then like the road shuts down for a while, all that. So a lot of things started late but it was a very nice time to be there because in a way like Ethiopia is one of the hubs of Africa, the continent. Some of the UN HQs and the kind of like the Africa Union kind of HQs. So like EU has like Brussels as some of the HQs, right? Addis in some ways is one of the hubs for some of the Africa things. So it's a place where a lot of Pan-African organizations are. Okay, so sorry, ramble a little bit. So 1 month event. Addis, about 44 builders around Africa, 30 projects. So my experience there was just connecting with the talks. I think some of the talks and all that will be online. They were recording a lot of it, right? We had some speakers who were obviously from Africa and sharing from there some panels of the builders, but we also had some speakers starting in remotely, right? So there was a speaker from Switzerland. We had speakers from like I think one from Brazil as well. So in some way like because of online stuff, we actually have speakers from everywhere. They could, I mean, we can as well. And I'm sure some of them would be actually quite happy to share stuff online with ETH or something. So if you want to organize for that, we can connect some of that. Okay, so this was the first ever ETH conference in Ethiopia over those 2 days, right? There's a community there, but for a conference it was the first one, right? And the scope of it was actually across, they said like across Africa. And I think maybe like, I don't know if they hit 10 countries, but at least 8 countries were represented in the thing, right? So imagine if KL first conference, bam, like all the people from like all over like ASEAN already, right? So that's the kind of like skill they were doing. They got quite a good range of support. So if you scroll down, you see like some of their partners and stuff, right? The partners were not just supporting with money, right? So Africa is a place where many of the like parts of the crypto ecosystem are pushing a lot of money and resources into supporting. So like we had someone who was a new kind of like regional lead for base, and then like Liz was also doing active stuff, and there's a lot of like real ecosystem growth going on in there. So let's see. Okay, so maybe I'll talk about some of the 3 winning projects in the hackathon to get an idea of some of the projects they came up with, right? So one of the projects was called DAO Habitat, and it's basically like they were describing the experience if I want to find a new apartment in Nairobi. So we all have experience searching for a place to stay, right? Like whether it's student housing, finding your own apartment, right? And of course, in many third world countries, it's difficult, right? Like there's a lot of scams, fake places, fake offers, and that kind of stuff. So they are trying to see, can we use Web3 and trust-based systems and good UX and vetting and all that to actually create a better real estate experience. So, it's a very familiar thing, but using technology for that. One of the second winners was this thing called Hakiba, and it's about enabling community-based financing. So many people, if you don't have a credit history, you can't really get a bank account, right? But you can create community lending pools to, so we are friends, we don't have access to like proper financing, but everyone puts in $100 like a month, and then like you can use that to turn around. This exists in many cultures traditionally, but using Web3 you can actually amplify the reach and increase the trust. So that was another one. And the third winner was this one called Chapa Ride. So in a lot of Africa, like cars are like the higher end, right? Of course you have the super like rich people with like the luxury cars. Then but cars are quite special, right? A lot of the population gets around by walking, and then in the middle you have like this kind of like motorcycle taxis, right? So a bit like tuk-tuks, but you know, different places and different versions. So a lot of these motorcycle taxis are not yet on like hailing apps, right? So Chapa Ride can be built a hailing app using some of the trust things to avoid some of the typical problems. So you can see that from the three I've described, none of them are very like I mean a lot of times in like hackathons, it's like trading AI kind of stuff. Some of them existed as well, but they were really looking at a lot of ways to solve real problems. And part of the reason for that is Africa is a lot of the focus of attention now because people are talking about real world crypto, right? Crypto solving real problems, right? If you're in a place where you already have ride hailing that's working, you already have like easy ways to get real estate, right? Then maybe the crypto focuses on things like the cases like that are more like playful. But a lot of people in this thing, not all, were really focused on real problems that were existing. And I think there's a lot of energy is going into this. So it was in Addis Ababa, but really it was like quite Pan-African in look, a bit heavy on the English-speaking side. So if you think about Africa, right? Basically two halves of the continent. There's a half that's very French-speaking because of history, and there's a half that's more English-speaking. There's a lot of other languages as well, but probably that's the divide. So the majority here were more like English-speaking group, right? But there's quite a mix, and of course, Africa, a lot of them had first time in Addis Ababa, even though they're from a different country. Some of them came by bus from a city in Kenya, maybe 30-40 hours away, right? So they found they had to get creative and all that, but they really wanted to be there, right? These were hungry, smart, talented builders that were there as well. So yeah, Africa's an exciting place. Demographically, all that is huge. And one of the interesting things I learned about Africa while I was there, after Ethiopia, I went to Kenya a little bit as well. There's some discussions between some of the countries to form what could be a new state, right? There's this idea of the East Africa Federation, which would combine a few countries currently countries Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, and I think maybe DRC or something like that, right? And what I heard was quite crazy. If they pull it off, this would be the third most population country in the whole world. It would touch two oceans, all the way from Indian Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean, and the size of the country would be number 7, bigger than India. So a lot of potential. In Africa, and as a lot of the world is growing older, right? Malaysia have a bit, obviously Korea, Taiwan are much further ahead. Africa is a region that is really young, right? So there's a lot of interest and energy for those things as well. If there's young people who want to do something, looking for work, maybe Web3 can give them opportunities. So that's Africa, and then last thing I want to talk about is we're here in EKL, Asia, right? When we grow up learning about Africa, often it's very stories from a distance, a lot of stereotypes, right? But this year, 2025 is the 70th anniversary of a special event that happened in 1955, and it's called the first Afro-Asian Conference, sometimes known as the Bandung Conference. What was Bandung? In the 1950s, 1940s, right, after World War II was when a lot of the independence movements really began to materialize, right? New countries like Indonesia became independent, India became independent as a whole thing for the first time in history. Before that, it was never one complete state, right? So Africa as well colonized. So as all these new things started to emerge, the context of the world was also this thing called the Cold War, right? After World War II, you have the free world, the US, and then you have the other ally during the World War II was the Soviet Union. Of course, after World War II, then the friends became not so friends anymore because they're both fighting to be number one, right? And this created a lot of the world had to be whose friend are you? Are you friends with the first world or the second world? The Afro-Asian Conference in Bandung was the beginning of what they call the third world, right? Now when we think about third world, we think about, third world is backward country, the roads not so good, everything's a bit sucky, right? But back then, third world meant option C, right? We don't want to be on this side or that side, we want to find our own way, right? And that was the dream. Sometimes another name for it is the non-aligned movement. Right, so in a way, it's a bit like Web3, right? Web3 is about saying we don't want to be part of this option or this block. We want to actually create a world of decentralization, autonomy, and other things, right? So there's a history between Asia and Africa that kind of have some of these roots that are actually very connected to the Web3 ethos, right? I came back from Kenya to Malaysia on a new flight that just launched this year, which is KL to Nairobi. Now it's a direct flight. There's only 200 US one way. which is the cheapest flight to Africa, I think, from Malaysia, like possibly ever. So, you know, in some ways it's not as far as it is before. So, yeah, it is AirAsia in fact. So, you know, but so it's not that far. We have plenty of friends there. I mean, I met many of them for the first time, right? But people are really friendly, want to connect, and all that kind of stuff. Many of them are curious about Asia, want to connect and stuff. If any of you interested in going or connecting, or maybe you can do ETH sharing, I'm very happy to connect and all that. They are really hoping to do more stuff together. Maybe we can use the excuse of this is the Afro-Asian year to do some stuff together, right? So, you know, the world is big, but it also can be small, so maybe we can do some stuff. Thanks. I can give it back. If there's questions, can take them, but up to the organizers. Yeah.
So, thank you, Sam. So, I think we can just, this is wire mic, so I think we can just shout.
Yeah, it's more enough you can hear. Okay. If there's questions, otherwise we can do also like we over like things like up to you all.
Sam, quick question. Like, I'm seeing that this is a 30-day event. It's
Yeah.
quite different from the usual Ethereum conference. So, can you elaborate on, I think, the first 30 days?
Yeah. So the best thing about it is it's a 3-in-1 event. There was a 30-day kind of like residency or like accelerator, right? Accelerator is way closer to it, right? The first 25 days or so, 14 builders came in, and some of them got support, sponsorship, scholarship. So 300 people applied. The most promising 14 builders get in, right? So it's like a residency program, right? Like funding the commons at residency by then last year, right? So it's basically like a builder residency for Africans. Over that time, right, they learn a lot of like things you learn in the accelerator program, right? Like you know, like how to craft your strategy, improvements on like how to pitch, how to think about a lot of things about building and all that, right, in a setting together. So the first 3 weeks, you know, like they had their residents like basically booked out like a 3-star hotel, right? About like 8-9 stories. The top floor was the event hall, right? So quite modest actually, like you know, like easily you can do it here, right? Like you book like a mid-range hotel, small mid-range hotel. The top floor was a room probably about this size, right? But then like you know like at least above weather is quite nice actually. Like the sun is very fierce, but the temperature in the day is like 15 degrees. So you can it's really like the highlands here. You can walk around and t-shirt comfortably. So like you open the windows, it's quite comfortable. So during the first few weeks, you know like it's residency like you're there, you're learning stuff every day. There's mentors supporting the teams. So the part 1 of 3 is the residency. It's a bit like an accelerator you live in. Part 2 was the hackathon. So the last week, you know, like, then okay, it's time to build, time to get ready for the demo day, right? Then they build that kind of stuff. And the last part was the conference, which was just the last 2 days. And the last day of the conference was the thing. So I only came for the conference, so anyway, I only got one part out of the 3, right? So it's modular, right? If you want to do something, we could also think about different parts, you know, like you can also split them up, right? Like in fact, like you know, we've done like hackathons and conferences before, right? So like residency, because you know, you want to do Pan Africa, so you bring people together. Here, of course, you know, we could do a Malaysian thing, we could do a mountain thing. I mean, like in this room itself, we have like you know, like easily 5, maybe 10, like nationalities.